this. Hey, and welcome back to episode 11.
11 is the big deal.
Right, of the Not Okay, It's Okay podcast. This is your safe space to not be okay and share about it. Rashidah and I are here to offer you our truth and our support. Just kind of letting, things be normalized at the fact that, we all struggle for balance with what life throws at us on the daily. So, hey, we have a new we're home. I'm home. We're here. We're virtual. So, hey,
I think it's cool.
Different.
Changed it up a bit.
Well, I really love, a shared universe. I love it in there. But listen, this is definitely the next best thing. So, hey, how are you? How you doing? Stress, right? I think before when we met, we talked earlier, and Rashidah and I both literally just laid out everything that has been stressing us for the past couple of days this week. So perfect, right? Perfect for this topic, because today we are discussing holiday stress, and we're going to say it's holiday stress part 1, because Lord knows there are more parts, and we will not be at a loss for things to discuss. So
yes, it's almost like a scary Halloween movie, like Jason part 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, please. I stopped at part 1. I'm no dummy. So holiday stress, right? I mean, when I think of holidays, there's that, it's the most wonderful time of year. So we are here to I am here to call BS on that, because that is something that has been manufactured. This is another societal kind of norm that has been imposed on us, because the reality of it is that for most people, it is not the most wonderful time of year. And this is not bah humbug. I happen to love the holidays, but it comes with a lot of stress. So thank you, Hallmark, for putting that pressure for the most wonderful time of year. But it truly isn't for a lot of people. And so we're going to kind of talk about that today, and share what we are stressing about. And obviously this holiday season is like no other. So Rashidah and I are home instead of in the studio right now because of, the increased stress with COVID right now. We knew, prior to the numbers beginning to creep, that this was going to be a different holiday season, because we've all been kind of keeping small, not really getting together with all of our friends, all of our family. So I think we've had that anticipatory anxiety, regarding the holiday. What do you think?
And when we think about the holidays, we think about the connecting with people, getting together, the hugging, the kissing, the people we haven't seen probably all year, or the people we only see during the holidays.
Sure,
now we have this pandemic where it's it's kind of not okay, to stand too close, and it's not okay to, have your mask off. Scary.
It is. Well, and it's sad. And I think that a lot of us, myself included, are struggling. Like, for example, Thanksgiving is my very favorite holiday. I love it. Oh, my absolute favorite. I will have Thanksgiving in November. I have had Thanksgiving in July. I just love
Hilary, Thanksgiving is in November.
No, I'm saying Thanksgiving. I will have Thanksgiving in November. And in addition, I would have a Thanksgiving in July. I just, me. I love, and, just being together in the meaning of the holiday in terms of gratitude, not necessarily the meaning of the holiday. We don't want to get into the history, but in terms of what Hallmark has done for Thanksgiving, we could say, just being with family, being together, it not being a religious thing, something that everyone celebrates. It's welcoming, it's
togetherness.
Togetherness, gathering.
Yeah.
So my personal favorite. And this is the first time literally in my life that I can recall not having, like, my mom and I always host a huge Thanksgiving, and that is my time to see the family that I don't get to see all the time, and to cook the great food and drink the great drink. And it's really, I'm definitely down about it. Definitely sad and disappointed.
Yeah, and again, it could be, a depressing, if you're dealing with mental health things.
Sure.
That could be an extra layer of, anxiety and depression flare up. Around the holidays.
Yeah, and even if it's not a diagnosed with depression, people are still feeling down and depressed. We don't have to be diagnosed with depression to feel depressed, to feel down. So I can totally, just throwing it out there. I'm definitely feeling a little down, regarding this and Thanksgiving. But, I think we're going to, as we move through the episode, we are going to talk about ways, that we can have practical solutions to, make sure we're getting that connection. So most wonderful time of year. We're going to debunk that off the bat. So let's talk about why we think we struggle during the holidays.
There's like a laundry list of things.
Well, why don't you tell me what's on the top of your laundry list, Rashidah?
Family conflict.
Family conflict. Okay, speak on it. I can't relate to that at all. So talk to me. Family conflict.
Well, I think it's, and I'm just, it's challenging sometimes when there may be that relative that you can only take in small increments,
Uncle John only on Thanksgiving in a couple of hours.
For 10 minutes and I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's a struggle, because in families, not everybody, gets along or sees eye to eye. Mm-hmm. And so when you have to come together, and it's supposed to be a joyous time, it's kind of hard to kind of pretend.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. So especially when you're the host or hostess, right? And you're welcoming all of these people, our family, into our homes, which will, who knows what that's going to look like this year. But if Uncle John doesn't get along with Aunt Sue, and it's like, how do we kind of navigate around this? How do we keep everybody comfortable? How do we keep the turkey on the table and not thrown across the wall? So definitely that raises our stress level, because go ahead.
Yeah, I think about also adding to that is if you had a bad experience with a family member, last Thanksgiving, this individual, was puking their guts out in the toilet because they drank too much and we don't want them to come again. And, so then.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I would say, if this were Family Feud, top 10 answers on the board, family conflict will definitely be there. Fear of family conflict, anniversaries of family conflict, and, just that added stressor. So I would say if I were, top 5 answers on the board.
Top 5 answer.
Yeah, I would say expectations.
Okay.
Expectations, kind of tying into the most wonderful time of year stuff. But, what do we expect of others? What do others expect of us during the holiday season? And I know, I struggle with guilt as an emotion a lot of times, and I work through that. But for me, I'm internalizing a lot of this, what? I'm not hosting this year. I mean, normally we have my family and we're 20 something people and it's the best and the house is full and there's so much food. And I feel that pressure, wait, but what do you mean you and your mom aren't hosting? And, this isn't, none of my family has, I know they're not upset and everybody gets it. But that's something that I'm wrestling with. This is my time of year. This is what I love to provide, the togetherness, and I'm not doing it. So then I'm I'm worried, is everybody going to be okay? Are they going to have turkey? Because not only do I have to feed them at the meal, but everybody has to go home with giant trays of food because, that's me. That's how I roll. So expectations, others are expecting to come in and have that, time together, and we're unable to do it this year. So I know I'm struggling with that a little bit. What about you?
And then I know there's people who are still, having, people gather. And, for some people that I know, the expectation is that, hey, they cook every year. And so we're going, but that puts a lot of pressure on the individual when they may not want to cook everything this year, or
Sure, right. So there's expectations as the host, there's also expectations as the guest, you know, and yeah, it can work other ways. Cause like, what if there were some of my family members that just felt obligated to show and didn't really want to, although I can't possibly imagine that. We have too good a time. But yeah, I would imagine it works both ways. So expectations, right? That's a big one. Yeah. And I think we can go beyond like the Thanksgiving day and the meal and talk about, you know, as we move into Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, right?
Yeah.
And expectations regarding gift giving.
Yeah.
And, you know, COVID got a little tongue twisted, has hit hard. People are out of work. People have either lost work, lost hours. So there are expectations of, you know, the gifts under the tree, you know, or a gift a night or whatever you do in your home. There's, you know, the expectations from the little ones, and kind of how to, you know, that comes with a lot of stress.
Yeah. I mean, you know, again, a lot of people have lost their jobs through this pandemic. And are just like holding on to what they have in order to buy food and just, you know, things that are much needed for the house. And I know a lot of churches would do, you know, donations, beautiful donations. And a lot of organizations would donate toys to kids. And they've seen a decrease in people donating because people don't want to be in the stores, you know, trying to buy stuff or don't have the money.
Right. Absolutely. You know? Yeah. So that is, you know, that's actually a really good segue, Rashidah, you didn't even know, into the next stressor, which is responsibility, you know. So with the expectations comes our feeling of responsibility, right? To show up in the way that we do every year with however many gifts or, you know, with the big holiday spread and the turkey and the ham and the lamb and the this and the like everything, you know.
Right.
And so, yeah, like it's a lot of stress in terms of what our perceived responsibilities are during this time of year.
And like you said before, like that sense of guilt of like, or that I should be able to do what I did last year.
Shooting on ourselves.
Right. Like, you know, on a budget, you know, and like on a budget that's not really the same as it was last year.
Right.
And, you know, it's hard to be for some people to be okay with that.
Yeah. And so again, agreed. And I think this is stuff that we'll talk about as we wind down, you know, just practical solutions on what we can do if we don't have the money this year, the financial, you know, ability to, you know, wrap those huge presents or, you know, so we'll get to that. So the financial responsibility puts a ton of stress, right? If we can't pay the bills, how are we, decorating the tree or getting a tree or, you know, and then it's, you know, the responsibility we feel to our children, to our families to kind of be able to make it the most wonderful time of year, you know, so it kind of snowballs the stress.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is new to us guys. So, if there's anyone on live right now with any questions, we're figuring out how to navigate that. So, if you guys have anything to add, please do, because we love to see your comments and hearing from you.
And if you're dealing with, you know, holiday stress right now, you know, definitely, you know, just, you know, if you have a question or a comment or don't even know, this is, you know, your safe place to be able to put that out there.
Right.
I wanted to add, Hilary, there's another thing that has increased my stress, and I don't know if it's increased yours or anyone else's, is just not feeling like you have enough time.
It's I can't relate at all. What? I mean, no, agreed. Yes.
You know,
time.
Thanksgiving is like next week, you know, and I'm just thinking about all the things that I have yet to buy for Thanksgiving. You know, and
absolutely. And then also the pressure and stuff that we're feeling. Okay, you know, they're telling us to, you know, start pulling in on, you know, COVID restrictions. And so like today, I'm going to call my parents out, even though they asked me not to. Today, I'm talking to my mom. Hey mom, where are you? She's like muffled. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, where are you? Oh, I'm at ShopRite. I'm getting what we need for Thanksgiving. And now I've been doing her shopping and my dad's shopping. Why? Because they're, in the population of elders.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're in the store, what? So yeah, but there's that pressure too, to, now we have to go out and do our shopping and, shop for others. I know, very stressful. And
right.
yeah.
And it's hard because for some people, just that going shopping and being in the store and being around people and looking for your collard greens, some good collard greens, that's a tradition for some people.
How do you make your collard greens?
Well, it depends. Some people, not everybody eats pork, but I'll put a little pork bone in there.
A neck bone? What kind of bone?
A neck bone.
Like a neck bone?
A neck bone.
Okay.
Shout out to anybody who knows.
No judgment.
And then, but I've been doing turkey.
Turkey neck?
I've been doing that turkey, and just kind of let it take its time and cook, and just the seasonings and onions, and but with collard greens, for those who know, you could have a lot. I mean, you could have a couple of bushels or whatever they call it, and it just kind of shrivels down to nothing.
Shrink to nothing, like spinach and all the other greens, like broccoli
7
raw.
bags later.
Yep, it's true. True, very true. Okay. So so time constraints. We're definitely feeling that with Thanksgiving literally next week.
Yeah.
And then, from Thanksgiving, it kind of snowballs into Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. And then we're like, we have a lot to do in a little time. And so the next thing I would raise in terms of holiday stress is commitment / overcommitment. Right?
Yeah.
We tend to
overextend ourselves.
Overextending, right? Like, I could do this. Sure, you need, and obviously this year it's not happening, but sure, you need 24 cupcakes for whoever's classroom, no problem. You need to individually make Santa beards on those cupcakes, no problem. So that kind of thing with, just over committing ourselves. And
right. Hilary, I totally forgot about the classroom stuff, the buying things for the teachers and giving them a dessert or something, a gift.
Yeah.
And,
I just reminded you. Yeah.
You just did. I forgot
that. Me too. Yeah. So, commitment and also wrestling with the fact that we might not be able to commit this year the way we have in the past. And I think that's stressful. Like I said, I was kind of sharing that with the guilt. And I think that is guilt over the fact that I've committed to Thanksgiving year after year. And it's like my jam and it's my time and I love it. And so, the fact that I can't commit to doing it for the whole family is, it's sad and it's stressful. Yeah. So commitment, overcommitment, right? Again, we're just kind of piling the stress on top.
Right. And I think in the moment, we really, when we extend ourselves, we really want to do it in the moment. And then as time goes on and things start adding up, it's just like, oh my gosh, why did I say I'll do 30 cupcakes?
Exactly. So, newsflash, I just clicked a button and now I'm seeing a ton of comments.
Where?
Click over. We were in private chat on the right. Ming told us, but we didn't follow directions. So, hey, Cheryl and Tina and Connie and Jersey. Hey, Allison.
I don't see private chat.
Yeah, click over. It's on the right side from private chat to comments, and you will see many.
Wow.
Okay. Hey, Al. And so
hi everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna select which Allison comments we read out loud because she's my friend since before kindergarten and I love her, but some things are not meant to be. So hey everybody. So now, good. Now we can talk. So Connie's saying that it's so difficult not seeing family because of COVID, and especially sad when it's a holiday that's traditionally right. Yeah, exactly. And we spend so much time looking forward to that. So I feel for you, Connie, big time. That is, it is the tradition, and that's the stuff that's missing. And that's the stuff that is stressing us out and making us feel sad and depressed and maybe even angry as well. So spot on with that. you know. Hey, Joe, there's my other friend. And Sherry, hey.
Whoa,
Hey, guys.
whoa, we got a whole crew in here.
Yes, we do. So
Yes.
yeah, I mean, chime in, you guys, because again, holiday season is going to look very different this year. And so we are normalizing the fact that it is not, in fact, the most wonderful time of year for all. Some it is, some it isn't. And I think COVID has really, really kind of hit home this year and will hit home. So we talked about expectations in gift giving, responsibilities, feeling guilty for not being able to kind of honor the commitments that we usually make under normal circumstances. So Rashidah, anything to add before we move on to the next kind of topics? And
I lost, losing someone, whether it's whether it's, and people know that, I lost my dad in October, but just, losing someone during the holidays, losing someone in general.
Right. So becoming the first, like this will be your first, Thanksgiving spent without that person. I'm sorry. I know that is really.
So that's, and I know a lot of people, especially, with COVID, have lost people, and, it's definitely hard to, be happy, when you're missing.
Absolutely. And grieving, like Rashidah, this is weeks since you've lost your dad. And again, I admire your courage for, being so open and sharing with everybody and me in the grief process. And let's shine a light on that, because whether it's a really new loss like your dad, or it's a loss and just, a loss a year ago, anniversaries of are always super difficult. Holiday time is really difficult. And, it's going back to the memories we share, and that things are kind of never the same. We work on finding that new normal, if we will, but that definitely adds, absolutely.
Thanks, Allison.
So Allison's saying, wait, I'm going to pre-read this one. She said she's not seeing her family, so how should I deal? All right, I'm not going to read the rest. But Al, I mean, I think that you are in the same boat with a lot of people. A lot of us are, not able to see and go visit. And I know especially you, Al, you've been struggling. You haven't seen your parents in like almost a year due to COVID. Her parents are, they're down in Florida. And so, so Zooming is a great way to connect. And again, we'll talk about the practical solutions, but, just to kind of embrace you in the hug of universality, right? To know that you are not the only one. Not that makes you feel better, but it kind of can, to know that you are not the only one struggling, that we're all kind of in it together, not able to see us all. So she's really, you see what she wrote? So anyway, moving right along.
I just want to quickly highlight Cheryl. If we could put that up. She puts, stressing about knowing I can't get my kids some of the things they want for Christmas that are important to them, but I know financially won't be able to get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's kind of, Cheryl, that echoes our responsibilities, expectations, commitments, like these things, because we've raised our kids to have certain expectations. And that's part of, I think, the norm in growing up. Like, you put it on the list, we're naughty or nice, Santa's watching, he's getting a detailed report on how you're doing in school. And then they expect this big ticket item or a couple of big ticket items. So that is a huge source of stress. And
Cheryl, you are not alone in that. Just know that you are not alone.
Absolutely. So you know what? I mean, why not? I think let's jump around, because it seems like people kind of want some solutions, some practical stuff. So Cheryl, I would say, one thing that we can do is kind of challenge ourselves as a family to get back to the basics. to teach about what the holidays are about, to maybe say, hey guys, this year, everybody, the kids get it. They're little humans. They know that we've all been affected by COVID this year and that things are different. And so we can start a new tradition. We can put a family member's name in a hat and everybody picks one, and then we get to make one handmade gift for that person. And then maybe we start a new tradition that way. And so it's not, that hard on our pockets, and on our wallets, but maybe we can kind of implement new traditions there.
And I think that's great, but it is a challenge,
Sure is.
Again, when kids have this expectation, they think they're going to, I want this and I want that. Or I see this on TV and I want that. So it is a challenge to have that conversation of like, times are hard right now. And I really would want to get you everything you want, I'm not able or capable at this moment.
Yeah. And it's okay to there's ways to have that conversation, where kids can understand it, and we don't have to give them the whole detail, like, oh, dad lost his job and, we can't afford food, but something like, hey, bud, you know what? We're only going to get one gift this year. And I know that might sound harsh, but there are children that are not getting any gifts this year, and to kind of keep it real. Oh yeah, great, Cheryl. That's a really great question, Rashidah.
Yeah. So Cheryl says, how do you explain that to a special needs child? And I kind of wanted to get into that because as people know, like I have 2 of my kids are on the autism spectrum, and so one perseverates on his birthday, that his birthday is every day. And I had to tell him, you're not getting gifts every because it's not your birthday today. But it is challenging, depending on what what behavior they're managing. So some kids can get, fixated on it. And it's just, again, how we manage behavior, just like you would manage behaviors with a child that, was atypical, is, just having that being, concrete. This is, this is what it is. We don't have it this year. I only have enough for one toy, and just staying and being okay that the child may cry and may have a tantrum, may have a fit, but eventually that child is going to get it.
Yeah. And also, honoring too the fact that it is really difficult for that child. Change is really hard for a lot of special needs children. And so, just kind of crossing the bridge over to their world and seeing it through their eyes. And that helps us to kind of understand more, what they're going through, and to honor that this is really tough. And it goes, it's about the present, but it's not, there's like multiple layers of stuff going on at that point.
And a suggestion, Cheryl, is just prepping the child early, like now. Like I would prep my son now, like just letting I know Christmas is in a couple of weeks, but we're going to do one gift this year instead of waiting till the week before or that week of, and then it's like, absolutely. So start now.
Great idea, Rashidah. Yeah. Absolutely. Good. Okay. So back to the basics. Having the tough conversation with the kids ahead of time and prepping them, and I think that goes for all kids, just having the conversation, being honest, and handmade gifts. And then the other thing I was thinking of is, getting into donating and volunteering. And again, that's limited in terms of COVID, but it's not, making an extra tray of ziti or something and bringing that to a shelter, or police officers or firefighters who are working on the holidays, donating some canned goods. I know at my son's school, they're doing, they usually do a food drive during this time. They just did a clothing drive. So kind of get active with that in terms of teaching your kid and showing them, hey, it might not be the same for us this year, but we can also, extend a hand and help somebody else's holidays.
I love the acts of kindness. I think we get so much, it's just such a great feeling, when we're doing something for someone else. It's like you can't label that. Like it's just,
Right.
what it's joy, it's happy, it's like just a beautiful feeling. So getting kids into that, learning about that. If I do something for someone else, it's not selfish because I'm going to feel good. It's just a good feeling.
Yeah. And again, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And the last thing I just want to say is that, also too, contact your school. A lot of times, the schools will know of organizations that are donating gifts to people. So, if you feel comfortable, just let them know what's going on. I'm struggling right now. And I don't know if you know of any organizations local that can help me out.
Yeah. And if anybody has any suggestions for local organizations taking donations, please list it on there and we can post about it on our Instagram and Facebook.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly, this is echoing. This is something that prior to Rashidah and I planning, what we're going to talk about each week, people are struggling with the stress of the holidays. Right. So again, not alone. We're here to normalize it and to say that it's okay. It's okay to feel the stress. It's okay to be worried and talk about it. So expectations, right? Responsibilities that we feel towards family, financially, commitment, overcommitment. Did you want to add anything to that, Rashidah?
Well, and we're in practical solutions. So like, what can you take off your plate, right? Like we're all juggling so many things from work life to parent life to, just taking care of our own selves,
absolutely.
It's a lot. So like, is there something that you can take off your plate for the holidays? There's something that, I think we get into those have-tos.
Yeah. The have-tos and the shoulds.
Right? I have to do Thanksgiving this year. I have to get presents. That's a lot of pressure. Right. So is there one thing that you can take off your plate to kind of reduce some of that stress?
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you mine.
Go ahead.
Okay. So normally for Thanksgiving, I like to get those fresh collard greens, pick them, look and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some bag greens because they'll cook quicker. They're already cut up.
Okay.
I don't have to cut and
take the rib off of them.
Yes.
And wash them. Don't they get really sandy? They're like sandy.
Yeah. Oh, you're feeling me on this, Hilary. So I am going to ShopRite. Shout out to ShopRite. And I'm going to get a couple of bags of collard greens. No shame.
Okay, good. And I've shared that I'm just not hosting 20-something people this year. We're keeping it small. We have I think the 8 of us, and that's what we're going to be, 8 or 9 of us. And it just is what it is. So that's off my plate. I'm not happy about it, but I'm going to process through and deal with it and just recognize that at the end of the day, I'm grateful to be able to see my, those closies, and next year it will all be okay, and we can kind of get back to business. And
it'll be interesting to see for those who do like just a lot of the prepping and the hosting. A lot of times I see that they're not able to really enjoy it. They're cooking and they're running and they're moving and smiling and hey, and you doing okay? And it's not until like everybody leaves that it's just like, okay, I can finally eat. I can finally sit down. But I got to wash the dishes.
Yeah. Gotcha. Oh, my dad is like super dishwasher. I'm lucky. So another thing I think that can help to alleviate some of this stress in the holidays is kind of getting back to what the holidays truly mean. I think that we lose sight of that in the gift giving department. We lose sight of that in the acts of kindness to others and volunteering or donating. And so I think that that's a really good practical solution to kind of take it back. And what do the holidays mean to you? Because it's beyond the gifts under the tree or the 8 nights of Hanukkah and the gifts every night. And, I think that that's an important challenge, and it can teach some really good lessons and alleviate some stress within the home.
Yeah. I heard about this stop, breathe, and enjoy. Because
what's that? Wait, stop.
Breathe and enjoy. Right. So you know, again, the hustle and the bustle. We're moving, we're trying to figure out, we're standing on lines, we're this and that. Stop, breathe, and look at the lights and look at the wreaths or smell the air. Look at people holding, you know, just like just looking at your environment and just taking in the beauty, the sounds of music, you know, the holiday music, the Hallmark movies. Like I'm getting like these good stuff going on just thinking about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, getting back to the basics, watching the old movies, you know, watching, you know, Rudolph and Santa and, you know, all of those. Yeah. Like all of those things. Getting back, finding the meaning beyond the gift giving. You know, this is, you know, COVID, we've gone back to, you know, being together and like a family unit and watching TV together and talking at dinner, like things, you know, that universal pause button was hit on us. And if we go into it, if we go into the holiday and set some really clear intentions, right, on what we want to get out of it, like connection, that's the next thing, you know, so many of us during this holiday season, this especially, we're missing the connection. We're seeking connection. And so I think that's something that we can really kind of talk about too. How can we connect when we're feeling so kind of disconnected at this point?
Right. Yeah. A connection is very important. And then we like if we take things into perspective, you know, if we're talking about like the gift giving time, how much of your day is the gift giving and how much of the day is the connecting and being with people and reminiscing, right? Like it's just a small part of your day.
Yeah. And so we can kind of dial back the gift giving and, you know, up the cookie making, you know, roll out some dough with your kids, make it a project, you know, cut out that kind of stuff, doing the handmade things. So connecting, we can Zoom, right? We can Zoom with our friends. You can have a Zoom Friendsgiving.
I like that.
With your family. Sure. Yeah. Cards are such a beautiful sentiment, a handwritten card, just, you know, or sending videos.
Yeah. We got to get creative.
We have to get creative. Absolutely.
Yeah, we got to get creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Any more practical solutions on your end?
Well, I mean, going back to my top one, which was family conflicts, right? I think it just comes to a point where we have to just accept that people are who they are.
Radical acceptance. We need to radically accept that
Uncle Charlie is
gonna. Uncle Charlie is so loud. He's gonna drink until he pukes in your bathroom, and there's nothing you can do. We have to radically accept Uncle Charlie.
He's done this for the last 20 years. I don't think this year is gonna change.
Right, exactly. So yeah, kind of radical acceptance. Radically accepting that COVID-19 hit us hard in 2020, and it is going to really impact our holiday season. And so we can just radically accept this because we can't do anything about it. We can't. So we just have to do the best we can with what we know to foster that connection, to reconnect, to find new meaning in the holidays, get back to, you know, the basics.
I also think about, you know, like, you know, we're kind of focusing on people who have, you know, family and friends and things, but there are people who don't have anybody.
True.
And so what is a practical solution for them? How can they become connected, right? So I think about, you know, if there's a faith group that you are involved in, you know, just like, basically, Hilary, what are you doing?
My little sunny boy, he wants to show his face. So
hi. Hey,
thank you. Bye. Shut the door. Love you.
He's famous now.
Famous, yeah. So how do people connect to, you know, and I know Rashidah, I remember when I was working where, you know, you're working at this incredible facility, there are a lot of people who do not have the family connection, who do not have that, that place to go. So like you said, getting involved with groups, organizations, churches, temples, mosques, wherever you go.
Support groups. There's so many support groups out there.
Right.
And I think they have I don't know if they Meetup is another thing that people utilize that have maybe some common interests. And so
absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so that would be it. And the other thing too, what makes it so difficult is during this time, a lot of times those people who don't have that immediate connection or have nowhere to go on the holidays, we would open our homes and say, hey, come sit at our table. Like, I know I always put it out there, to everybody, anybody I know whose family is scattered either across the country or the globe, come to us. I could always set another plate. And it's kind of limited right now in that we have to kind of keep the group small, but bringing a plate over to somebody's house, leaving it for them, tokens of letting somebody know that they matter to you, giving somebody that phone call, reaching out to the people that we think might not be okay, and letting them know that, if circumstances were different, you'd be sitting at my table, but hey, here's a plate, enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And if you're able and capable to adopt a pet, there's so many cats out there, looking for homes. Looking for homes, and so many other wonderful beings. And they are such a support. And again, if you're and again, that's if you're able, and capable of being, taking in, I think that's a beautiful thing.
I think my husband would absolutely divorce me. So basically this is our part 1, holiday stress, practical solutions. Rashidah and I are gonna keep stock on this stuff, and we're gonna come back with another holiday edition, just so we can kind of dialogue about it. And this is our place, remember, to not be okay and talk about it. And we're here to normalize things. As both of us as mental health professionals, we're here to say, listen, it's okay and normal to be struggling at this time. Remember the stress vulnerability model, right? Our stressors go up, so do our symptoms. Our stressors have been up here since COVID hit in March. They have not come down. But what has happened is we have piled more and more. Remote school, not remote school. Going back to work, not. This, that, holidays. So let's just honor the fact that if we are feeling more anxiety, if we are feeling increased depression, as long as we have that congruence there, we can, it could just normalize things for us. But let's share, let's reach out to people. Absolutely. And just, we're here to support. We're here to talk about it. And hopefully you guys had some takeaways from, today. And why am I only just remembering this? Hi, Stephanie. No worries.
Hi, Steph. And Stephanie has a wonderful podcast as well. Shout out, Steph. We love your show. But so just don't be afraid to reach out, and again, we're big fans of, entering counseling and, just having someone to just kind of let it all out.
And for the record, this time of year, always, clients always increase. I know we get a lot of calls at the Empowerment Center. People, this is the time of year, where people need some extra stuff, extra support, extra help, an extra place to kind of dialogue and process through some things that are happening in their life. So always, reach out and get connected.
Yeah. And the great thing too, I know sometimes people say, I don't have time, I can't, drive, a lot of people are doing virtual. A lot of therapists are doing,
absolutely
the Zoom platform. So you can do it in your own home and don't have to get in your car.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ming, shout out to Practical Medicine Podcast. That's Stephanie's show.
Practical Medicine.
Yes. So check her out there. And maybe we can even have her on here with us.
That's what's
that would
up.
Be great. So we are going to slide on into the bowl of no shame, which I am holding, but Rashidah has a question for me and I have one for her. So we're going to get that started, right?
Yeah, I don't like my question, but we'll see where it goes.
Oh, great. You don't like the question you have me answering?
I feel like the question, well, I have to answer it too. But the question is, would you rather have a dog or a cat, and why?
Okay. I will say right now that I have 2 dogs. I don't have a cat. I would love to get a cat, but unfortunately, my sister-in-law is allergic, and then we wouldn't be able to like have everybody over. So I'm a dog girl, but I grew up with a cat, Archie. Shout out to the man who lived 22 years. What about you?
So you prefer a dog?
I mean, yeah, I love my dogs. They're my little pups.
Well, I will have to go on the other end and say a cat.
Oh, okay.
I love cats because they're so independent. They're potty trained. They are moody. They're fickle. You know.
And so you'll be adopting one for the holiday season. There are many cats to adopt, Rashidah.
There are a lot of cats, but my son is allergic.
Oh, no cats for you. Okay, This is definitely a Rashidah question, everybody.
Whoa.
No, I mean, this is one Rashidah put in the bowl of no shame.
Now, be scared. Be very scared.
Be scared. Tell them they have a booger or not to tell.
Ooh. Is this a friend?
It's anyone who has a booger that you might be talking to.
I wouldn't, if it's someone that I know, I would be like, yo, you got something in your nose. But if it's someone that I don't really know, I probably won't do that, because just in case they pick it in front of me, like with their fingers, I feel like a friend would be like, oh, okay, hold on, let me go get a tissue.
Okay, yeah, Jersey, I'm with you. I would definitely tell somebody that they have a booger. I mean, not if like I'm online in like ShopRite and they're behind me and I notice and we're not engaged in conversation. But if it's somebody that I am engaging with, I will totally like be like, you know, you have something in your nose, or hand them a tissue, because I would hope that they would do the same for me.
So would you tell somebody they have a wedgie?
No, because that would mean I'm staring at their butt. If they don't feel it, then no. Booger. We'll leave it.
How do you miss a wedgie?
Then maybe it's comfortable to them. So, okay. Yeah, Stephanie would tell them too. I agree. I'm with you. Okay, so next week we will be talking about gratitude.
Gratitude.
For Thanksgiving Eve. So yeah, we're going to talk about gratitude, attitude of gratitude, how to get there, how to move our brain into, you know, shift from certain parts of the brain, and how being in the state of gratitude affects everything.
Yes.
And so, yeah, like usual, follow us on Facebook and like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. I will eventually get this right.
And also follow us on Facebook. Yeah, you can follow us. You follow us. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and please keep your questions coming. You can DM us or whatever you do on there, and we're getting your questions and we will be responding to them. If you have any show topics that you would like to Rashidah and I to do, we are always welcome to that. And yeah, so take a deep breath, everybody. Practice some self-care. Also, self-compassion that we talked about last week. That has definitely resonated with me a lot since we spoke about it last week. And I've definitely been challenging myself to have more self-compassion, especially when we're under this stress. So some self-care. What can you add to this week's routine to kind of, you know, help you through, take the stress level down a little bit, even if only for a few moments. So
that question is getting a lot of traffic. I'm just saying, that booger question. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Joanna, you never tell booger and open zipper?
Oh,
really? Serious. Thanks. That's like my best friends. I know how to check my zipper and my nose before I talk to you, girl.
Well, I know, Hilary, if I have a wedgie, not to count on you.
Count on yourself if you have a wet booger. But if you have a booger, I'm your girl. How's that? I'm all right with that.
Yes.
So again,
and as always,
everybody,
self-care, everybody, self-care. Take care of you.
And it is okay to go out, reach out for some help. Therapy. I am a therapist who is actively in therapy, and I am pretty confident in saying I will be there for the rest of my life, and I'm so good with that. So thank you again, everyone, for participating and for liking it on Facebook and sharing it. It really helps Rashidah and I if you guys can share the link, just because you get to reach people that we're not yet friends with. So we're trying to spread this. No, we're not trying. We are spreading the message and normalizing the struggle of mental health and just the day-to-day. So thank you. This was episode 11, and stay tuned next week for episode 12, gratitude. Have a great
please week. Adopt an iguana, a cat, and a dog.
I love her. Okay, guys, have a good one. Be well.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye. Rashidah. The Not Okay, It's Okay podcast includes casual conversations related to mental health, self-care, practical tips and resources, along with validation that not being okay is okay. You acknowledge and agree that the following warnings and disclaimers shall apply to all of our content.
This podcast represents the opinions of Hilary Scheer, LPC, and Rashidah Cartwright, LCADC, and their guests to the show. The information provided is for informational purposes only, and we recommend that you consult with a healthcare professional for medical or mental health advice.
The views and opinions expressed in the Not Okay, It's Okay podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. Do not use our content in lieu of professional advice given by qualified medical or mental health professionals. Always seek the advice of your own medical mental health provider related to your specific medical or mental health condition prior to implementing any recommendations or suggestions from using our content.
Privacy is of great importance to us. That being said, all people, places, and scenarios mentioned in the podcast have been changed to protect patient confidentiality.